5, 4, 3, 2, 1. What up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Angie's World Podcast Season 2. Today, I have a very, very special guest, a long time coming. If y'all only knew how long it took to get this young man right here in this seat to join me. Today, I have, introduce yourself, young brother.
Yo, I'm Big Chuck from Death of the Clout Chaser.
Yes, Big Chuck from Death of the Clout Chaser, everybody. Yo, if y'all don't know who Chuck is from Death of the Clout Chaser, all right? He is Death of the Clout Chaser TV. They got over 82K subs on YouTube. He has a very successful clubhouse room where he does extremely well, and he has other things that he has going on, which we're going to get into today. So I'm very, very happy that you're here, and he's been so great. You know what I'm saying? Like, absolutely. I'm so excited. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of times, you know, larger content creators, they're kind of leery to do things with like smaller creators and stuff. So I really appreciate you, looking out and saying, oh yeah, no doubt, Angie, of course I'll do your podcast. I really, really appreciate that.
No doubt. Anything I can do to help.
Absolutely. And shout out to my bro Ghost. You know what I'm saying? Because if it wasn't for my bro Ghost, you know what I'm saying, I wouldn't have, met Big Chuck and Death of the Clout Chaser. He's so great. If y'all know me on Clubhouse, y'all know I'm always in his rooms moderating. He's family over there. Ghost is family. He couldn't join us today, but I'll definitely have Ghost on at another point in time because he's super dope too. And I feel like we got some things we could talk about with Ghost as well. But I'm so happy that you're here, Chuck. So now, listen, my audience might be a little bit different than your audience. So I want them to get to know you a little bit better. Tell us where you're from.
I'm originally from Chicago, over east. Chicago is like the south side. You know, we call it the east side. Used to be from State to the Lake. Now it's from like Stony to the lake.
Okay, I don't know too much about Chicago. How far are you from where Kanye West is from?
Probably like less than a mile.
Oh wow. Okay, so you damn near from where he's from.
Yep. We from over east side.
That's so dope. Who says that?
The iconic house that he have inside the shows. Yeah, that house is from over there, about a mile away from where I'm from.
Oh wow, that's his mom's house, right? Didn't he buy that?
Yeah, yep. He bought the house, and now the house is it'd be on tour with him.
Yo, that's so dope. What you mean be on tour with him? Like, what you mean?
Like they be doing the shows. They had a house, they created it like where it looks like sort of like a church.
And then
same house from over there.
It's so crazy because I remember I watched the Kardashians, and I remember when Kanye bought the house and told Kim that he wanted the kids to move in with him and his at the time. Huh?
I said, I heard about that. Yeah.
And she was like, I think this is a little bit too small for us. Cause she's from Beverly Hills. So that house, she just was like, maybe we could come visit, but I don't think we could live there. But Kanye was serious about going back to move there. He's like, I want my kids to know what it's like to eat oodles and noodles and be from the hood. I don't want them to be
he got
too
enough
rich.
Property in Wyoming. So he built one that looks exactly like it,
That would be so dope. But all right, so Big Chuck, you from Chicago. Before we get into how you started your YouTube and what made you get into YouTube, what was you doing prior to YouTube?
I was into trucking, touring. I owned a touring business, so that was a large part of what I was into for the past few years. As well as I had a couple of artists that I was managing. As far as getting them into the studio, putting out different albums.
Okay, so tell me, how did you get into management? Like, was it just friends of yours that were artists, and you just had a business mind, and you was like, you know what, let me just help you out?
Absolutely, that's exactly how I ended up into it.
Yeah. Do you like managing?
It's cool, but when you managing other people, you got to go with their pace, regardless. Even if you telling them like, hey, do this, do that. You still got to go with their pace. And, I'm more so on my own beat. I like things done in a certain time frame. I like things done probably right then and there.
Right. And the only thing is, I would like the idea of managing too. But what I've noticed is sometimes when you're with an artist from the very beginning, they might be on the same page as you. But when they skyrocket and they hit the top and they have all these other people in their ear, I always notice, not in every situation, but in a lot of situations, they'll kind of like go in a different direction from their original manager, because they'll kind of go where the money is or listen to where the machine is and what the other people are telling them to do. And they wind up parting ways. And then that artist that the manager put all of this effort into in the beginning is catapulted to the top. And this manager is still, you know, in the hood trying to like manage smaller acts and trying to get off. So it's kind of like one of those things where it's like, is it even worth, you know, going into management sometimes if the artist is going to leave you when they get famous, or I don't know.
Yeah, or even I just have an issue. I always tell the artists that I manage, like, so if somebody wanted to come and buy that particular song, would you sell it? You know, maybe, you know, the song ain't for you, but it's still a hit song. And they
Right.
always be like, no, and you know, my business, man, like, yeah, sell it song, you know,
Right.
let that take you to the next level. You know, it's only one song. If you really got what it takes, you're gonna make many more.
That's so true. What did they say? I think Dancery, Mary J. Blige, one of her biggest hits. Let's get it crunk up on, you know
Mhm.
that song? I
Yeah.
think Janet Jackson or Alicia Keys, one of the big artists, and if y'all know, correct me if I'm wrong, they passed up on that song and Mary took it and it blew up for Mary. So sell a song, y'all, because you never know. It might not be for
You never
you, but
know.
it might be for another artist. All right, cool. So you always had a business mind. You was managing people. Then you was in the trucking business. Now, what did you do in trucking? Did you like sell trucks, or tell me a little bit about that?
I owned a small roadside assistance company out in Atlanta, and you know, outer perimeter and perimeter area, as far as
Mm-hmm.
like the suburbs, and you know, we towed cars, we buy and sell cars. You know, I still run that particular business.
Right.
Hmm.
You know what? I was watching. Shout out to Gully TV. He was actually on my podcast. He's a good friend of mine. Shout out to him. He was interviewing Fat Man Scoop, and I watched this interview a couple months ago. And Fat Man Scoop said that once the pandemic hit, and he realized how like in the entertainment business, like his money stopped to a complete zero. He was watching other businesses that were thriving, and he decided that he wanted to get in the trucking business because he said that's a business that never stops. He goes, the world was still and trucks were still delivering, trucks were still moving. He says, so that's like a business that I feel like is like almost pandemic proof. Like no matter what happens, no matter what other, you know, businesses stop, you're always going to be able to get money in the trucking business. So that's what
Yeah,
he
for
that's what he
sure.
said.
And even like with the, you know, the new trucks, they got like the Tesla trucks. Some of them drive themselves, but you know, they always gonna still have to have a person inside that
Managing.
human, yeah, inside that vehicle. So I figure like another 20, 30 years, why not build, you know, my family fortune, like far as with the trucking, and you know, put something up for the kids, you feel me? So I'm
I love.
definitely gonna use this platform and the platforms that we got to, you know, buy more trucks and, you know, get into the business a little bit more.
Yeah, definitely do that because, you know, it's always good to have multiple forms of income, multiple streams of income, especially in this day and age. Did you hear this? I didn't want to start here, but this is just what made me think about this. You know what? I'm gonna save this for hot topics. Hold on, I gotta make a little note, y'all, because this right here, I gotta ask you about this. Hold on one second, y'all. I got all these notes, so if y'all see me looking down, um, okay, we're gonna talk about this during hot topics. All right, so now Chuck got his businesses going. Everything is good with that. Now tell me a little bit how you got into like YouTube, like how your journey into it, like how did it start for you?
Um, it started. I used to do like small videos, like, you know, it didn't really get that much traffic on how to build your business credit, you know, how to apply for different net 30s. But I always been into like hip hop. I always watched the, you know, the Charlemagne the Gods,
Yep.
um, you know, the sway in the mornings, you know, a lot of different people, the Joe Buttons, a lot of different people that's inside of that media space. And I was looking at what they was doing. So even then, back then, I had some artists. So I used to tell them, like, maybe you can, you know, do the blogging and add that into your music, kind of like what DDG has done, you know, over the past
Mm-hmm.
years. But a lot of them, you know, they stuck in their ways. They be like, you know, I'm a rapper, I'm not no blogger. You feel me? So that idea went out the window. So eventually, I'm like, you know what? I'll just do it. So I started doing it. I was blogging on the Bay Area, and
Mm-hmm.
even going from Chicago, I knew like Chicago, me being from Chicago, it should be a little bit easier for me to relate to that particular audience. So I started off in the Bay Area, you know, maneuvering around with what they got as far as their content, the different artists, and from there we just went from different state to different state.
So when you say the Bay Area, you talking about California?
Yes, California.
Okay. And when you say blogging, you talking about like back in the day when you got on WordPress and you were doing the blogging like that, or you were talking about like videos?
Videos or audio, you know,
Okay.
audio, you know, and mainly like reporting on what was going on at the particular time. It was a bunch of things with an artist named Jay Diggs, Yuck Mouth, Mezzy
I know
Mars.
Yuck Mouth. I know who he is. I don't know him personally.
So it was a bunch of different things that I was covering inside of what they had going on in a particular area.
So you were doing like behind the scenes, basically, like behind the scenes, blogging, news reporting, and you started off small in the different states and things that you were involved in. And then where did you, because everybody starts at zero, right? So when you started your YouTube, it was at completely zero. I mean, you're almost at 100K now. Now, how long ago was this?
Like the channel originally, it was at 300. So from me blogging it on the credit, I got like 300 subscribers. So when I switched over the name, you know, I just went straight on, you know, similar to the way I gauge my content now. Like, say for example, if something pop up on the news, CNN, TMZ, or Shade Room, Vlad TV, you know, these different platforms, you know, 16 Shotums. Like if it end up on there, I'm gonna go in and you know, look through the content, see what's going on, then report it to my audience.
Right. So all right, so let me ask you this question. Hold on one second. I want to put your stuff up right here. So if y'all want to check in with Chuck on YouTube, it's Death of the Clout Chaser, right? Or Death of the Clout Chaser TV. Hold on. I got a little banner for your
they can search that or yep.
Here we go. Yep. He's at 82K subs. Congratulations with that. So what made you come up with the name Death of the Clout Chaser?
Well, I knew that everything gonna have its ending, and you know, at the time it was a bunch of, you know, the clout chasing. It was the clout era. Like we had clout rappers, we had clout social media influencers. So I knew like they wasn't gonna completely stop that type of things that was going on, but definitely the word was gonna eventually change its meaning. They gonna call it something else. So that's how the concept Death of the Clout Chaser.
I love that because hold on, y'all. I'm cracking my neck because you know these headphones. I'm gonna have to get me another pair. Are your headphones comfortable? Because mine aren't.
Yeah, I got the old school joints. I forgot what these called.
Yeah, yours look nice and like I don't know, these are kind of tight, but shout out to you know, I can hear you well, so that's good. But that name Death of the Clout Chaser, it's one of those like declaration names. Like if you hear Death of Auto-Tune, it's like a statement. If you hear hip hop is dead from Nas, that's a statement. Like that's something that people are not going to forget. Death of the Clout Chaser. So I feel like you did good when you kind of created that name, like Death of the Clout Chaser. And now, which we're going to talk about later, so many people are clout chasing off Death of the Clout Chaser's name, making little different spin-off names on Clubhouse, kind of like trying, like, you know, a little bit, I guess, because that's such a good name. So they're like, listen, I'm trying to make my own version of it. So that's what's up. Okay. So, all right. And for the people that don't know, because I'm going to link all your stuff in the description. So for the people, I know because I'm in tune with your content. But for, you know, I always say like Angie's World, this channel is like, you know, people from all walks of life that come and I talk to. So there might be my 70-year-old aunt that's watching you right now because she tunes into my podcast. Tell for the people that don't know, what could they expect from your YouTube channel? Like, what exactly do you cover? Do you do lives? Do you do documentaries? Do you do like, what kind of things do you do on your YouTube channel? Interviews.
And we do right as far as right now, I do interviews, you know, news blogging. You know, I plan on releasing like a series on top of the channel, as well as some movies, some docu-series.
That's dope.
It's coming in the future, but like right now, strictly because, you know, I'm only one person, so I got the you know, I do the news reporting, the latest, you know, as far as different topics that's surrounding the hip hop culture, as well as you know, I also do interviews. You know, I do in-depth interviews with
Yes.
different walks of life, from people in the streets, like from, you know, like we have street culture. That's a part of the hip hop culture, is the streets. So I cover that. I go into the mainstream where, you know, we go into you know, the artists that might and sold and went platinum, you know what I mean? And we cover them, you know. So
Yep.
it's just it's a bunch of different things we definitely want to shoot for in the future. But right now it's just that.
Yes, definitely go check him out. I've seen, I've been in interviews where Chuck has interviewed people. He's very in depth. You ask great questions. You do a really good job at connecting with the artist or connecting with the person. And his stuff is very enjoyable. So definitely check him out. Um, when did it hit you that you were on to something with this channel? Because a lot of people give up before anything pops for them on YouTube. Like, what made you be like, yo, this thing it's about to explode?
Um, I don't know. I just mainly just stand on the path, stand on the grind. Like, one thing about this particular thing that I'm doing, you know, far as Death of the Clout Chaser, it's more so like it's something that I like to do. So I'm gonna
Yeah.
these news articles, I'm gonna watch the YouTube videos, you know, I'm gonna already be in tune with all this stuff. And then I got the opportunity to, you know, to put it out to my audience, as well as maybe even make some sort of profit. So, you know, it's always a thing where it's easy for me to keep going. I'm
And it
always
don't feel like work for you, right?
right, right.
Yeah, definitely. And there's a huge lane for what you're, doing. There's a huge audience. That's what I meant to say. There's a huge, huge audience for the type of content that you put out. What do you think how what do you think is different? Because you know how they say podcasts are like oversaturated, and it's like, okay, Angie, well, what separates your podcast from everybody else? What do you think, like, for you, that separates your
Well, see,
content from everybody else?
like I say, I'll give you an example with the interviews, you know, and a little bit on the news. And I'll start with the news. A lot of times, the way I report the actual what they saying to be facts, and
Mm-hmm.
then I might, you know, give a slight opinion on it, but for the most part, I let the audience gauge that opinion, you know. So it's more like a people's platform, and then
Yes.
far as the interviews, it's like I usually start back from the past. Like, I go back to like 12, 13 years old, and then I work my way into what they got going on now. A
Right.
lot of people that do interviews, they might cover, you know, strictly certain points of this person's life. And I try to just, you know, go from the
Dig
beginning.
deeper
Yeah.
and put that extra effort in. And I think because of your consistency and because of the fact that you're like the people's choice, like even on Clubhouse, you let everybody on your stage, everybody has a voice, the people have a voice, the people have an opinion. Chuck is definitely not bougie. He doesn't act like he's better than, he doesn't make people pay him to speak on his stage. He gives everybody that opportunity. And I think when the consistency and people trusting you after a while is going to make that brand name become a trusted brand name, and people going to keep coming back to your channel because of what they get out of it. They know they're going to get the news, the unbiased opinion. You're not taking sides. But I wanted to ask you, because sometimes, being that you are also, you do interviews and stuff, but you're also a blogger that has to report the news. How do you get away from it being awkward when you have to report on your friends? How do you kind of stay neutral and stay out of it?
For the most part, like you know, usually when I establish these type of relationship in the industry, they pretty much are familiar with my platform, and they already know that it's a, you know, it's unbiased. It's we not on that bias stuff. We want to keep it neutral. You know, a
Yeah,
lot of people say that, you know, you play the 50 and things of that nature. But me personally, I think that we just playing death for the Clout Chaser side. You know, that way we can get both sides, hear it
right,
out, put it out to the general public, and let them be the gauge of it. You know,
right.
for different opinions that's gonna come with it. Now, when we do have that actual person, a lot of times that's what death for the Clout Chaser mean. They can come in and clear up all the clout rumors, and, you know, let it be known what's really going on with these particular situations.
Yeah, definitely. And listen, it's not easy because, being that you're one of the top content creators in the field that you're in, the genre that you're in and the side of YouTube that you're in, it does kind of put you at a target for people to throw shots at you and people to come like haters and different things like that
Most definitely.
because you're reporting on street culture and there's so many different serious things going on with rappers dying and beefs and different things that you have to kind of insert yourself in to report on it. How do you, me observing you and knowing you for the last almost like 6 months, you don't really get into the WWF culture. That's what I call it, where everybody's going back and forth and threatening each other, and I'm gonna pull up on you, you pull up on me. Like, how do you kind of stay out of that, because it could get dangerous for a blogger or a journalist, a reporter, anybody?
Yeah, most definitely. I choose like really try to not to engage in that type of stuff because it is the internet.
Right.
When you talk about people, you got to know that people gonna talk about you. So it's certain things that I know I signed up for.
Yeah.
When I see my name on YouTube and different titles, or people have their opinion on me, I really don't get mad. Some of them might even take it as corrective criticism.
Yeah.
Things that we could change, but for the most part, I just know that's what comes with it. So
Yeah. Chuck is very laid back.
Yeah, I don't really take so much of it.
Yes, I don't know. I need to get some of that energy from Chuck, because I don't know, man. Like, I'm a smaller content creator now, so don't nobody care what I say. But when I do get to the numbers, like how you got the numbers, eventually they're gonna be scrutinizing everything I say. So it's definitely something you have to have some self-discipline, and you have to kind of be secure in who you are, not to respond to the trolls, because people definitely gonna troll you.
And I also add this though, because I know it's a bunch of content creators that's gonna be watching this. Now, I didn't have that mind state in the beginning, so I've been doing it a little over 3 years. So like the first year, shit, if you said my name and you got 1 subscriber, I was probably gonna make a video about you or add you to what I had going on, just to let you know I've seen it. But like by the second year, it's like
right.
Then the third year, it's like, man, you got to be more so calculated on who you respond to, who you even let your audience, know
That's
that
so
you
true.
know these people.
That's absolutely true. That's so true. What do you hope for people to get out of your channel? Like the experience?
History, like a big thing of history. Like that warm and family vibe. Like, we're not trying to lead you up the wrong way. Like, even when we reporting on some of these situations, some of them be heartfelt where, a rapper, he just signed a deal, he about to put his family on, or tragic, he dies, and that can stop the whole olive branch of feeding his family,
Yep.
A lot of times we have to add on, like, is different choices that could be made in these particular situations. So it's definitely going to be a little bit of education there as well. And just, being down to earth. Like, I'm just like everybody else. So, like I said earlier, I grew up watching this type of stuff. I've always been in tune with what was going on. Let me get the latest mixtape. Let me hear these new songs. Let me, read the Source magazine, that magazine.
That was me too.
I was always into that. The internet came. Let me see what's on the blogs, the World Star Hip Hop, So yeah, definitely,
It's like you were born to be, hey, they calling us journalists, Chuck. Born to be a journalist.
Right.
That's what it is, man. Let me ask you this, because I know some people that may be watching it, maybe look up to you and be like, damn, I want to do what Big Chuck is doing, or I want to do what Angie's doing, or whatever the case is. What advice would you give to smaller creators to grow?
Usually just keep doing it. Like my mic, my setup, it costs a little bit, but in the beginning, I started off on a Note 9. It's more so putting out the content, making sure there is some sort of quality there, what you saying. Sometimes the audio might not be the best at that moment, but as long as you getting your words across where you captivating your audience, you're gonna always win with that. And consistency. You got to be consistent. That's the key.
Yep. You know what? It's so true. People that everyone that I know that have larger channels or are successful, the one thing that is the common denominator, they always say consistency. And the stuff that Chuck is saying now, y'all, about don't wait until you have the perfect setup and the most expensive equipment. You have to start somewhere. This is stuff that he says in his room as well. So he's always like, being a good leader, empowering and uplifting people. And that's what I want to do on my podcast too. I want to empower, uplift, inspire people, you know what I'm saying, to keep going. And yeah, it was like, when I started my podcast, people who were already doing it were like, you just got to start, don't worry about the artwork being perfect. You can always change your podcast artwork, or you can always learn about your sound, or, and then if you look from like, I'm sure even with you, when you look from your first video to where you're at now, you could see the growth.
Absolutely.
The
and you
growth.
grow with your audience. So
Yes.
your audience, they get to sit along for the ride and they respect it. A lot of people, they ain't been there in the first 1,000, that 1K before we hit that 1K, and they still around. They come in and they, as we go to different levels, they be the ones come back like, damn, I'm so proud. Like,
yep, they grow up with you,
from something to something.
That's so true. They got that loyalty because they've been there from the beginning. Okay. Before we get into some Clubhouse talk real quick, what are you excited about for the rest of the year for your YouTube? Like, what are you excited about?
Big thing is hitting that 100K, going into that, getting the whole treatment when it comes to the 100K,
yes,
pushing the merch a little bit more. We got some new designs that's going to come up. That's going to be more stylish to like, your everyday life, your everyday clothes, and versus just wearing something that says Death for the Clout Chaser on the shirt. So, we got that coming up maybe like the fourth quarter. So
that's what's up. Y'all make sure y'all tap into Death of the Clout Chaser TV. He's at 82 subs. Let's get him to 100K. This interview is going to go out on, I just want to say what up to not only YouTube, but this is going to be going on Apple, Spotify, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube. It's going to go everywhere. So shout out to all the platforms that are tapping in.
World Podcast.
Thank you so much. We're not done yet, though. You're not going nowhere yet, Chuck. But I just wanted to put like a little, commercial in there and let y'all know, if y'all not subscribed already, stop what you're doing right now. All of Chuck's information is going to be in the description. Go directly to the description box. Click on his YouTube page. Lock in with him. If you have Clubhouse, we're going to talk a little bit about Clubhouse now. This is where I met Big Chuck. Spent a lot of time in his rooms. We moderate rooms together. I've been there for a lot of the big interviews, a lot of the drama, a lot of the happy times, sad times, yelling, screaming, laughing, all that kind of stuff that goes on Clubhouse. We're going to talk a little bit about that, but make sure you lock in. And then also his Instagram. Let me put up your Instagram real quick. Y'all already know where to find me at Angie's World Podcast. Tap in with Chuck at Death of the Clout Chaser on Instagram so you can lock into what he's doing. So you told us what's next for you. So let's get into Clubhouse for a little bit. Death of the Clout Chaser is very big on Clubhouse. You're one of the bigger, headlining groups on Clubhouse. When you do interviews, hundreds of people in the room, 1,000 people. What is your some of the interviews that he's done, Alpo, his alleged son, you did Bimmy Atney, you bring people on the app, that normally people wouldn't be able to like speak to, and you bring them to the stage and you ask all the questions that people want to know, and then you bring your audience up there and the audience asks questions, and we have some dope rooms on there. So tell me a little bit about what's your opinion on Clubhouse. Do you think it's useful for your platform?
Yeah, I think it's useful. Like some of the interviews that we came across is because of the different relationships we built on Clubhouse, and I think like more so when I'm doing the news covering side of the things, it's a lot easier when you speaking on this particular situation or this particular artist, and then you actually get people from their camp. They get to see the room. It's a lot of different people on Clubhouse you won't believe, but they'll see the room and they can come in and chime in. And remember, it's Death for the Clout Chaser, so they can automatically quit stop all the clout chasing that's going to be out there with concerning that particular subject.
Right.
So I think that's dope, being able to get more hands-on with what's going on. And, being a smaller blogger, a smaller channel on the come up, these are the variables and the relationships you're going to need to go to the next level. So I think it's dope, whoever created it, shout out to them.
Yeah, I think it's dope too as well. Now, So let me ask you a question because you know, you're a big room on Clubhouse. Wack 100, he's really big on Clubhouse, right? And you and Wack used to be real tight. If I'm looking down, I'm looking at my little questions here. I don't want to forget anything. All right, you and Wack used to be real tight. And right now, your relationship is kind of rocky. I want to know, where do you think it went wrong with you and Wack? Because no matter what the relationship is like now, you guys did, do great work together. You helped his platform a lot. I feel like he probably helped yours. Great interviews, great rooms. Where do you think it went wrong between 100 ENT and Death of the Clout Chaser?
It was some concerns about a situation when it came to some news reporting, when it came down to a guy by the name of Charleston White out of Texas. And Charleston White had made some accusations towards Wack 100. And a lot of times, like even before Clubhouse, we'll put it on the stream yards, we'll put the title up, and with the question mark, and we'll invite people on to give us their different opinions and chime in on this particular subject. So not like any other, like it was pretty much like any other day. And we did this, and this particular day, Wack, he started going wild. He had a problem with it. He wanted to make it an issue. And I think when I really look back on it, and I even spoke to him a couple of times, and his thing is like he really don't have no issues with me, but at the end of the day, he's like, who else he gonna have issues with on the app? I guess he got to keep people entertained, and
Right.
The platform, it is a decent sized platform, so I guess that's more so the reason why he points the finger at me when it comes to certain different things and try to add me in. But the relationship started with Wack 100. It didn't start so great. We was making rooms about the whole Jim Jones situation. We wasn't for people to be saying that this person is a rat or they got some sort of paperwork on them without no sort of proof. I always used to reference back to this phone call, but it was no indictment filed towards Jim Jones in regards to this phone call. So we used to bring up different people from Jim Jones' camp, and Wack could see the title. Of course, his name is in there because we talking about being said. So he'll come in and chime in, and I give him the fact that a lot of them situations was tough situations. He came in, he didn't dodge the questions. He tried to answer it as best as he can, but overall, time goes on, and we here where we at now.
Yeah. This is just an example, guys, of how people can, you're here reporting on something that is your job, and someone who you're cool with, kind of, who is in the media, who's in the spotlight a lot, sometimes they could get sensitive. And if you're reporting on the news, you can't always have favoritism to one side because you might be cool with one side. You kind of have to report it the way it is. And sometimes people can get real sensitive about that, and you find yourself in the middle, and then they stop messing with you just for something that you have to do. So it's kind of like a rocky road with that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, most definitely. And like a lot of times some people would have possibly changed it up a bit to fit that type of personality. But unfortunately, my platform is definitely the Clout Chaser, and we built ourselves up to here at this point with not being biased, biased and having the situation where we want to hear both of the sides. We just don't want, just because we cool with you and you say this, but look, the other side is saying this. So let's put it together and see what the audience gonna say, So it wouldn't work. So I had to let it be clear right then and there. It's like, I can rock with you. I don't have no issues with you. But at the end of the day, my platform is my platform, and we gonna keep moving the way we've been moving.
I love that. Do you think that there's any chance of reconciliation, any collabs with 100 ENT and Death of the Clout Chaser in the future?
I don't know. I really don't know. I'll leave that up, for the audience to guess. Like, far as if that's something that they want in the future, and they keep putting it out there that they want that, maybe I'll make it happen for the audience. But if not, shit, probably not.
But you know what? You're not against it if it ever happens in the future, which is good.
Right.
I love that. All right. So, I'm going to ask you the same thing about Clubhouse that I asked you about YouTube. Do you have any plans for your Clubhouse room, like anything you want to, like you're excited of doing? Or I feel like, because I've been on Clubhouse for 2 years, and I feel like Clubhouse kind of has its, I guess, highs and lows. And the state of Clubhouse right now, in my opinion, I feel like it's kind of in that place where it's very it's all about drama rooms. Before it was like all about big interviews and like content, as far as like interviews, people coming in speaking. You got Rundown bringing Amber Rose on the app. You got Chuck bringing, Bimmy Antony, or you got Alpo's alleged son coming up and different things like that. Now it's almost like,
C Gutter.
Right, C Gutter. I mean, endless. That's just too. Absolutely. Now I kind of feel like Clubhouse is in a place where it's like expose rooms, like who's exposing who, and doxing rooms and drama and different things like that. So what do you think? I guess my question to you is, what direction do you know what direction you want to take, or you want to continue doing what you're doing? That's the first question. And second question is, what do you think about the state of Clubhouse right now?
I definitely feel like I feel exactly what you're saying. I think like you got to have some sort of balance. So like right now we just started a morning recap show. So that's going to be specifically for that edgy Clubhouse content, because, it's based on what happened on Clubhouse.
Yes.
Only the people that's really being in tune with Clubhouse going to even understand it. Now, the other topics, that's when we talk about, the hip hop, what's going on in hip hop culture, as well as, bringing the interviews back. So it's more so like, I feel like it's going to be just a well-rounded circle,
right,
of content. So they're going to be able to get that, that little boost in the morning. Oh, damn, that went on yesterday. I didn't even know that went on, but you're going to hear about it. And then, towards the midday or something, you might get a room where now we talking about, Kodak Black, what he got going on,
yeah. Oh, we're going to talk about that later too, because that's in my hot topics list for us to talk about, to touch on. But yeah, because now that you're reporting on the Clubhouse news, drama, hot topics, now you see, but you're in that same situation that you are in YouTube when you report about the artist. Now you're in that situation on Clubhouse when you report about what's going on with the personalities on Clubhouse. How are you handling that? Because now people that might not know you from certain sides of the app, who the F is Chuck? Who the F is Death of a Clout Chaser? Now everyone's in your room arguing, shooting shots at you because you're reporting the news. How are you taking that now?
Like the same way, the same way I always say, like, you talk about people, they're gonna talk about you. So
right,
I'll be prepared for that. But for the most part, Ghost, he's good at making sure that he keeps some of the same relationships that we have with these different content creators, as well as I do. So it's more so communication. We don't let things go from here to there,
right, without putting out the fire.
Right. So we at least attempt to put out the fire. Some things can't be put out. Like, it's been plenty of situations that goes on other stages inside of this realm of Clubhouse, because they got different sides, right? And we try to bring some of them people over. Maybe they can squash what they got going on, because it's simple, like it's the internet. You don't really know each other.
Right.
The thing is, like, sometimes that doesn't happen, but guess what? A lot of times it does.
Yeah.
Have some sort of resolution, and we move forward with this. I guess they call it the Clubhouse culture.
Absolutely. Do you find that it's better or worse now? What you think?
I definitely think it's probably getting worse. Only reason I say that is because, like, you asked me before, a few minutes ago, about how do you utilize Clubhouse? And I was saying, like, the different, celebrities or the different influencers that comes on, management teams, that might represent these different people that we talking about inside the culture. They no longer on the app. So
right,
that's a constant thing that's happening. So if it keeps happening, I don't know if I'm gonna be on the app, because then I can't utilize what I intentionally came on Clubhouse for.
I wanted to ask you about that. I feel like you kind of took a Clubhouse break for a while, making rooms like as consistently as you used to. what made you do that? Was it that you want to rebrand after the Clout Chaser? Were you trying to see if that's something that's for you? Like, what was going on with that?
For the most part, like you know, we on season 6 when it comes to the actual audio of the podcast, right?
Okay.
Like, you know, the Spotify's, the Apple Podcasts, you know,
Yeah.
whatever other podcast network. So they sent us an email letting us know that you can now upload the visual portion onto Spotify.
You did
So
tell me that.
what we've been doing is just putting in heavy work to put out more of them type of episodes, so our season 6 can look more like what's going on when it comes to Spotify and competing with the other podcasts who has like the visuals behind it.
Yes, like DJ Academics and stuff like
Mhm.
that. I forgot that you told me I can do that. I'm actually gonna do that as well. Cause I already had I already have the audio that comes out. I mean, I'm sorry, the visual that comes out on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. It's always good to add that on Spotify too. Because, you know, a lot of people utilize Spotify and Apple, but some people like to watch the video and they might not want to go to YouTube or something. So that's good that Spotify added that. So, okay, so it's not that you didn't want to be on Clubhouse. You just put in more work into that because it's hard to spread
Right.
yourself out so thin. It's
So
you and
instead of bringing the interviews over there, we was bringing them strictly to like the Zoom lights, the you know, the stream yards, and captivating it, you know, on there versus bringing them on Clubhouse. But also, it was a situation like Clubhouse, you know, I feel like they wasn't protecting their content creators like they should, you know, and it was a lot of different rooms being made with lies about my name and different things like that. So, you know,
it was draining your energy.
Yeah, I give it a little time to marinate so the people can have time for me to like to respond to what's going on because it's coming so fast. I was like, you know what? I started when I did come on the app, I go in like my moderators' rooms and you know help them build their audience and you know, for the most part, the people that's making them rooms and you know making different content in regards to me, it gave them a little bit of time so the story can get out there. So now when I come to correct all these lies, I can just do it at one time versus, you know, every little situation.
Absolutely. And that's one thing that I think is so dope about you, Chuck. Like you always, you know, willing to help someone. And he does that a lot in Clubhouse with his mods. You know, people branch off, they make their own Clubhouse. He always comes in the room, he always supports the room. So that's really dope that you do that. And you know, you were definitely missed while you were gone. So I just want to say I'm glad that Death of the Clout Chaser is back on Clubhouse because that's like a staple. You don't see the Death of the Clout Chaser room in the hallway. You're like, what's going on? So
you know, we definitely back on it. The morning show is something that we bring every morning. The Clubhouse morning recap, as well as like, you know, topics, they gonna be all through the day. And then as far as interviews, we'll be bringing the interviews back probably in the next 2 weeks to 4 weeks.
I can't wait for that one. Yep. And it's so good that you guys are doing that morning recap because half the time I get on the app. And that's the thing about Clubhouse. The news happens so fast, you will be lost if you're not on that app for a day. And half the time I'm asking Ghost, what happened? What is going on? I'm so confused. So it's good that you guys do that so people could come and get that content. All right. So what was this question that I wrote to myself? Oh, this is my question, right? Besides the podcast, besides YouTube, I think you answered this earlier when my question to you is, you have any plans to branch off outside of the streaming platforms? And you say you wanted to do movies and documentaries, right?
Right. And you know, they still gonna be on some of them same platforms, you know, if not more of the streaming platforms. I do feel like eventually once we get past this 100K mark, you know, we definitely got some influence in the culture. And I think that it should be a lot of podcast networks that's going to be probably trying to, you know, strike some sort of deal with us. And
I love it.
Forward to working with these different networks.
That's what's up. And also, I also think that Clubhouse, I mean, I know that they have like a paid thing for like, you know, their content creators, but they should step it up a little bit because I think that's what's going to keep content creators on Clubhouse. More of a way to get money, because people be like, there ain't no bread over here, like why am I, you know, over here and stuff like that. So to keep the content creators on Clubhouse, please start paying these people. Because my thing is like, because that stuff is time consuming. That stuff is not easy.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely time consuming, but for the most part, when you dealing with this type of content, you got to figure out a ways to monetize it all. So like,
and work smarter, not harder.
Yeah, so everything I pretty much do in some way end up getting monetized, maybe not directly through Clubhouse, but through different platforms that we might, take that particular interview and put it over here and put it over there,
That's
But
how I feel.
a Clubhouse definitely need some sort of setup, kickback, because they do have the opportunity. Some of these interviews from me, they getting first, so they getting that content before a lot of my other platforms.
Yes.
And platforms, maybe even paid platforms, So it's definitely something they need to fix.
That's so true, man. And like, it's one of those things, man. And it's so crazy that you say that, because there's so many ways to network on Clubhouse and meet people. But then it's like, to get that content off of there. Like, I did an impromptu interview that I didn't even know I was going to do, like at 3:00 in the morning, with Aubrey O'Day from Making a Band. You remember her, Puff Daddy Making a Band. And when I tell you, Chuck, this was a dope interview. It was like a whole hour and the replays were off. It was in my friend's room. And I was like, oh man, like, I wish I could get that content back. I wish there was a portal that you could go in to rip it off.
It is like not directly with Clubhouse, but some content creators a few months back, they had came up with I forget the name. I'm gonna shoot it to you, and maybe you can put it in the description for the people want to know too. But it's like basically an app where you put the Clubhouse link in there, even if the replay is not on. That particular app records the conversation. So
I like that.
Have something like that does happen. Like I had it happen with Memo 600. Memo 600 signed the OTF. Little dirt people. It was a spirit of the moment. Like he came in, he like, yeah, you want this, right? I'm like, yeah. He like, all right, go ahead with it. So that replays wasn't on, but I was able to take the link and put it over there and had the full recording.
That's dope. So if the room happened weeks ago, we wouldn't have that link, right? Like that link would
have to do it live. So like,
I see.
Say if they can, like you came in, NG World's podcast come in, oh damn, this is dope. Oh, hold on, let me ask him some questions. But before I start my questioning, let me go ahead and put this link over here and click the record. So it'll facilitate all that for you.
Yeah, shout out. And I'll definitely put that in the description, y'all, because that's like the little things on Clubhouse that you're like, oh, this is a gem. And then you have to tell the artist, oh, do you mind coming on my podcast? And then they say, yeah, but then sometimes you don't get that second time to really get that same, goal that you got the first time. So, but yeah.
Came up with that app because like a lot of people were, it'd be more than just that particular content creator, the person who actually owns the room. So say they have mods who engage inside the conversation and they want to have some sort of audio, history of what just took place. They came out with that website, and I think it's dope though, for sure.
You know what? I should have did that with my, like, when I moderated one of my first rooms that I ever moderated. That's how I met Ghost. I moderated that big room with my son and Wack.
Oh yeah, I remember that. Yep,
was a huge, and I pretty much, I mean, at the time, my son was brand new. Ghost had no idea how to operate Clubhouse.
Footage.
Huh?
I got some of that footage.
I was moderating that, and you want to know the crazy thing about it? That got ripped up off Clubhouse, uploaded onto YouTube, and people made bread off of it. And I was like, I was hosting that room. I should have put that. I was like, I should have gotten some money off that room. But yeah, that's why it's always good, man. You never know, especially, even if it's not your room and you become the lead moderator and now you're facilitating a conversation in the interview. Yeah, you're going to want that. You know what I'm saying? So absolutely. All right. So real quick, Chuck, I'm not going to keep you here all night. I wanted to go into a few hot topics that I've tailored to, Big Chuck and his audience that I think that you would be interested in. And then we're going to play a quick game and then we up out of here. All right, Chuck. The first thing I want to start with is this. I want your opinion. Gilly versus Rick Ross. What is going on with this now? Because they're both in the headlines. They're going back and forth. What's your opinion on what's going on with these two?
Like at first I didn't understand it, but I kind of understand it now. Like where Gilly the Kid, he had made like some sort of comments about Rick Ross being hold on.
Mm-hmm.
He had made some sort of comments about Rick Ross being
CO.
no, not even before the CEO. He made some contents about like older rappers or older guys still acting young. So
Mm.
made reference to Rick Ross as being one of them type of guys who older guy who still act like he one of the young guys coming up, right? You know, in his 20s or something. And you know, Rick Ross took offense to it, and he had said some things about Gilly. And that's
Mm.
when Gilly came back with the whole, you know, like you should name your podcast Locked Up because you know you was a CEO back in the day, allegedly, you know. So it definitely strikes like that. Like right now, the entertainment level on that is up there. You know, Gilly, the way he been dissing Rick Ross, I don't know, man. Rick Ross, you gonna have to fight back, my boy. Soon.
It ain't no allegedly he was the CEO. We got the pictures. He was the CEO. He admitted to it. Listen, did you see that picture where they showed like Gilly's crib next to Rick Ross's crib?
No, I didn't see that one. They did that?
Yeah, they did that. Let me see if it's still up. My homeboy posted it. I mean, listen, it is a flex. Rick Ross obviously has way more money than Gilly. But at the end of the day, there's so many clowns out there with money. Not to say Rick Ross is a clown, but yeah, it's a flex because you know you see Gilly's house is this big, and then you see this huge mansion with mad property, and then you put it next to each other. And it's like, well, he's talking about him, and look, he's like, you know, he could pay for 20 of Gilly's lifetimes. But at the end of the day, Gilly is still a legend. He's a real dude. You know what I'm saying? So I
No,
don't
for
know.
sure. And then what Gillian's done with that podcast, him and Wallow 267, you know, that
Yes,
culture for sure. But I didn't like what Gilly was saying about Rick Ross and his cow. Like, I think that, you know, you're trying to build generational wealth.
right.
These are some of the measures that you're going to need to take to have these type of things for the future kids, you know, the future family members that's going to come in the future. And I definitely think that shot was kind of strange. You know, he said
Yeah,
about the cows and the man got all this property. Why wouldn't he have cattle?
exactly. I don't understand, you know what I'm saying, what's going on with that. But also, do you think it could be contrived because Rick Ross is coming out with a podcast, so it's trying to give him relevance to
I
being
definitely thought about that too because I can see Gilly and Rick Ross having a great relationship. Um, that's some of the like different people say that these people in the industry be running them type of plays. Now, I'm not in the industry, so I don't know. You know, I can only go with what the general public is saying, and it definitely is kind of strange because we didn't know shit about Rick Ross having a podcast, but now we do.
exactly. And the thing about it is, even if it wasn't contrived, I could see Rick Ross taking it personal to get himself in the blogs to promote his podcast. Because prior to this, Rick Ross probably didn't care what anybody was saying about him in the media because so many people would say things and he never
Yeah, I've seen
responded.
like most of his posts be going viral is him giving
Dan,
inspirational words and
yes,
him on the lawnmower or some shit like
yep.
that. You know?
Him feeding a cow, him doing something, chopping up wood or whatever. Now he wants to take shots back at other podcasters because he knows he's about to get in that lane, and that's going to be
Gilly is
his
definitely
direct competition, right?
Gilly's definitely going to be probably one of his direct competitions for sure.
Oh yeah, absolutely. All right, so we're gonna see what happens with Rick Ross and Gilly. That's a story that we're just gonna continue to watch. All right, so we mentioned this earlier. Kodak Black being charged for trafficking oxy. What is your take on this whole situation? Also, you know what? Actually, I'll come back and say this, but yeah, what do you think about this situation?
Um, you know, I'm not sure if Kodak Black was using, but you know, if that is the case, you know, I think that he probably needs some help. He seemed like he got a lot of D like
PTSD.
PTSD. Pardon me, and you know, I really think that Kodak Black, he's one of the guys that's in our culture who has influence on, you know, these kids, you know, teenagers, these young adults. So, you know, I don't know if his team needs to, you know, put him in some sort of rehab and get this straightened, but he definitely gonna have to have some type of straightening eventually because this is what killed a lot of the artists that we have had in the past when they hit levels like Kodak Black was going to hit.
Absolutely. Do you think this OxyContin situation could be he could be using because it's very common for, I mean, my generation, it was hip hop was still trying to get on. It was poor. So they were hustling the drugs.
Right.
Now there's a certain amount of money, and now the artists are doing the drugs. You know what I'm saying? Because they've reached a certain amount of success, so they're doing it. But the first thing I thought was, could Kodak Black be suffering financially and he's selling this? Could it be that? Or I don't know. It seemed like he getting enough bread.
He definitely getting enough bread. Kodak Black, he's still heavily streamed. He just dropped the album like 2 months ago that did pretty well on the tracks. He got that one song that's been viral damn near ever since he been out of jail. The one that he made about his cousin.
Oh yes.
Yeah, so that song been going up for, I think it's like 200, 400 million views on YouTube alone. And, other platforms, I'm pretty sure it's up there. So he definitely still getting a check. I think he got a good deal. He mentioned about his Atlantic Records relationship maybe a couple of months ago also, and said that, he's proud to be over there and he love what they're doing with his career. So, I don't think he's suffering from financial. I think it's more so of
use.
Might be suffering from some sort of problems, like I referenced the whole, PTSD, and that could be a situation. Kodak Black does come from one of them type of neighborhoods in South Florida, very dangerous. You hear about the different rappers that's even coming behind Kodak Black that's from these same areas.
Yes,
a lot of people were saying that it's similar to what goes on in Chicago with the drill movement. Or the Bronx or the Brooklyn, where rappers are dying behind music.
I was gonna get into that too next, but finish what you were saying.
Yeah, but that's pretty much it. Like a lot of times it could just be him coping with different issues. So like I said, if that is the case, I hope that Kodak Black has some sort of support system where he able to get this taken care of before it really gets out of hand.
Absolutely, because prior to the oxys being popularized in the hip hop community, before that it was the syrup, and the syrup took so many rappers and Pimp C and the guy who DJ Screw and just so many people, and even Rick Ross, he was getting the seizures and he went through all of these things because of the substances and stuff, and some people are fortunate enough to make it through. Joel Santana, he was fortunate enough to live. Little Wayne, but obviously you can see the effects on what it did to them. You know what I'm saying? But they're still alive. You were able to see Rick Ross get off this stuff. So the thing about Oxy, it kills you way quicker because it's like basically heroin in a pill form. So it's such an epidemic in the suburbs and in circles with people of a financial status because it's so expensive. And these rappers are now in the same, financial status, and they're able to be around the suburban kids and all of these rich areas, and they're able to afford that stuff. So the thing about it is the overdoses and everything, it's going to kill them way faster than probably any other drug. So it's really dangerous.
Yeah, definitely. And, coming from that lean era, a lot of lean is not accessible like it was back then. So a lot of these guys have switched over to different type of drugs that's similar to, heroin.
It's so crazy. Being that we were just talking about the neighborhoods, the music and rappers dying and stuff, it brings me into my next question. I want to know your opinion on this, right? Drill music, is it good or bad for the streets? Recently, my son had posted like a clip of Cardi B, and it sounded like she was crying, and she basically was saying like, this music like evokes something in her of somebody that she doesn't want to be anymore. She just wants to be a mom, but like this music gives her it basically, like, I guess, awakens her demons, and she sounded really emotional when she was talking about it. So I guess my question to you is drill music good or bad for the culture in the streets?
I definitely think that it's a double-edged sword when it comes down to it being good or bad. I can give you examples of a lot of these guys, they don't have no way out, their neighborhood other than the usual for that we hear about in the past, selling drugs, ended up in jail, murder, robbery, things of that nature. So them utilizing the fact that they could just go inside this booth and express themselves and get things off of their chest, and put it out to the general world, and they able to now provide some type of, financial, process with their family. That's always a good thing, But the guys that do the drill and they dissing, a lot of times they end up dead. So
Mm-hmm.
I think that it's just a double-edged sword. It's definitely one of the things that been around even before it was called drill rap. Like
Mm-hmm.
my cousins, from Chicago. We been from Chicago. I remember, riding around in the Chevy. He got the 24s and he bumping Spice One.
Mm-hmm.
And Spice One, Welcome to the Ghetto. And you listen to that type of album, Welcome to the Ghetto, and you hear what he's saying. It's similar to what's going on in the drill music, except they not actually saying like, oh, this particular name, they really
Mm-hmm.
in this particular area. So,
Right.
I think that it's been a part of the culture for a long time. I don't think it's going nowhere because it's not mainstream. So a lot of times that people say that they're gonna blackball it, it's like how? Because usually a person who's listening to drill, they don't find it on the radio,
Right.
don't find it in their recommendations.
It's underground. It's street.
They go and search for these different songs or different records that's coming out with these artists and what's going on inside that culture. So it's something that they go on they phone or their computer and they put in this information to find these artists. So that's going to always if you don't put it on YouTube and house it, you can still house it on your own website. And when they Google that person name, that website can pop right up.
So people are going to find it. You're right. You can't ban it. It's not going to go away. I just wish that in our communities there's a way out. Because before drill music, it was a double-edged sword with selling drugs, because it was like, yeah, a person could be selling drugs and killing their community, but at the same time, it's a way out for them and their family. So out of guilt, they may come back to the same community they killed with selling the drugs, and kind of provide turkeys for Christmas or back to school drives, or kind of give back because they feel guilty, because they kind of gotta become numb and kind of have a black heart in order to turn a blind eye to what they're really doing. And I think with the drill music, it's a way that people, like you said, see a way out of the hood. But I hope for the days that people from our communities can get out of the hood without having to do something so drastic, like throwing a dice, selling drugs, or becoming a rapper now is basically, like Jim Jones has said this a couple months ago, like being kind of like sworn into the army. Like, you basically don't know, like, once you a rapper now, you don't know, like, that's throwing the dice. I saw a meme on Instagram
Said that it's more so one of the most dangerous professions, and he said that maybe 3-4 years ago, and a lot of people, he called backlash from it at that time. They was like, yo, bro, being a rapper, like, you serious? You gonna relate that to being in the streets? And now over the years, we see now rappers catching Ricos, rappers dying left and right. So it is a dangerous profession. Me personally, I always tell my audience is like, don't waste your time with that shit. Don't waste your time with that rapping a certain type of way to get out the hood, or even down to choosing some sort of criminal activity. Because one thing about all these aspects of it ain't fair. So the minute that they think that it's fair, they're gonna always lose, and they're gonna always be on the other side of that stick, and I just try to preach that to them. Like, you just because Lil Durk made all these millions of dollars, or this particular artist,
right.
YG made all these millions of dollars, or 5 Foreign made all these millions of dollars, that doesn't mean that it's gonna happen to you. You could
Yeah.
be the opposite, like my boy P, from New York, from the Bronx. His son Shy Watts, he died. He lost his life behind that drill movement in the Bronx, and he's also a YouTuber. So we have seen some of his transition, like him being around his son coming around to, he getting into that whole culture. And
Right.
unfortunately, he lost his life. I think he used to run with K Flock in them.
And even them, they're like it's like if you look at the whole situation that's happening right now with Gunner and Young Thug, like even if you make it out, they could be watching you of what you've been doing the last 5 or 10 years and they coming. So it's kind of like, sometimes you kind of throwing the dice when you're either making music like this, involving yourself in certain activities. My advice is for people like, listen, I try not to judge people, when it comes to men and women, whatever it is that you may have had to do in the past to get to where you are now, just if you make it out, try your best to change and right your wrongs. And if anything ever comes back to you, be prepared for whatever karma it is that's going to catch you because of what you did. That's number one. And I say the same thing with women, like I don't judge people who've had to do certain things for money to provide for their kids or whatever the case is, but get your money, get out of that lifestyle after that. You know what I'm saying? So it's like one of those things. And I just wish for a day where there were more opportunities for people in the hood besides, looking at, oh, I want to be a basketball player. I want to be a city girl. I want to be a rap, drill artist. So that's the only way to get out like that. We got to change that in the communities, and we have to work on more job opportunities, education, and financial management in our communities. And I say that, I've said that before in your rooms, you know what I'm saying? Financial literacy and all that kind of stuff is what we need. So yeah, it's like a really sad situation. All right. So before we get into this game real quick, the last question I want to ask you is, did you see on the news? I know they did this in New York, but I don't know if you heard about it over there in Chicago, but they kind of went over what to do if we have a nuclear attack. Did you hear about that?
No, I haven't run across that article yet.
Man, so they said, like, are you prepared for a nuclear kind of attack? And it was on the New York news. Shout out to my boy Fly Tie. He sent me, let me see if he sent me the article yesterday, and I'll play it for you. But it is insane. Hold on, let me see if it's here. If not, I'll send it to you later. But basically, like that to me, and then they're telling people, well, odds are it's not going to happen. We're not going to be, attacked by a nuclear weapon. But if so, this is what you need to do. Stay in the house, do all these things, but don't worry. And I'm like, and the news anchor is like, can you please not give us one more thing to freak out about? Like, my thing is, why would they wait until now to start talking to us about nuclear attacks if we don't have nothing to worry about?
Yeah, it is. I think that it's a different world we live in. We definitely should be prepared because some people just don't have it all in them. I even seen like if people talk down on our military system, and it's like the military is here to protect us. Like they protecting us, right? You being a United States citizen, and I think that maybe the measures that need to be taken, like far as making people aware of if these type of situations do take place. Here's what you do so you can be prepared because it's bigger than a movie at this point. We in 2022. Far as technology, everyone has technology, everyone has something. They're not gonna let us all know about it, but for sure everyone has something technology wise that can probably wipe out this planet. So we definitely need to be prepared for it.
That's insane. And I don't know if they asking us or they're trying to tell us about this now because of what's going on with Russia and stuff like that. And I don't know, but yeah, definitely, prepare, guys.
One of them praying moments there, like that's one of them praying moments for me because I don't know what to do in that situation. I can only, I will pray about that one.
Yeah, that's something that we can do nothing but have enough food and shelter stuff in our house and stay in the crib. Like, what are we gonna do? We ain't got no weapons of mass destruction to be trying to get involved in all that stuff. But pray for everybody. I wanted to touch on that. And before we get into this game real quick, I want to thank you again for coming by, Chuck. Thank you so much for coming to my podcast. I F with you. I F with your movement. I love what you guys are doing. You know what I'm saying? Anything you ever need, just holla at me. Thank you so much for stopping by. Make sure y'all tap in with @Death of the Clout Chaser on Instagram, Death of the Clout Chaser TV. Get in tune with Big Chuck because he's making moves. He wants to hit 100K. You will hit 100K by Christmas, I'm sure. Definitely by the fall. Absolutely. So Before we get up out of here, I just want to end with this little game, right? It's called a would you rather game. So I'm gonna give you basically two things, and you tell me two statements, and you tell me which one you would rather do. All right.
All right, let's get it.
All right. Would you rather give up sex or give up food?
I guess give up sex.
Okay, that's my answer too. Would you rather be stuck in a phone booth with 10 snakes or 10 tarantulas?
Probably snakes, probably the tarantulas, because I could stump them out. Easy to kill versus a snake. You can't just really kill them just off top with your bare hands. You need some scissors, right? Some sort of knife.
They coil around you. They're too slithery. Yeah, you're right. That's a good choice. Would you rather say your ex's name during sex or your girlfriend's best friend's name?
Wow.
So during sex, would you rather say your ex's name? Now they're both fucked, but you got to pick, the lesser of the evils, I guess.
Yeah. I guess you have to go with the X, because that's X.
You say her best friend's name, forget about it. You never gonna live that down. She gonna think you
gonna live that one down. That one gonna be on for a minute. Now X might last a week.
Right.
I don't know
why
I did that, but the best friend, like, are you fantasizing? What is really going on?
Yeah, it's over for you. Would you rather give up your phone for a week or wear Crocs for the rest of your life?
Oh, you say Crocs?
Crocs, the Croc slippers. Would you rather give up your phone for a week or have to wear Crocs for the rest of your life?
I could do without the to keep the fly together. I could do without the phone for a week.
Okay, for real?
I could do that.
That would be hard. But I can't wear, listen, I live in New York. I can't wear Crocs for the rest of my life, man. It snows down here, so I guess I would have to be giving up my phone. All right, Chuck. Would you rather clog the toilet on a first date, right? Or would you rather clog the toilet on your first day at work?
I'll go with the first day. I'll go with probably the first day at work. Shit, I already signed on paper, so
right.
He fired me for some shit like this. We probably gonna have something else coming behind that lawsuit wise. So. It's just my stomach.
Word. All right. Would you rather have an abnormal big toe or an abnormal big ear?
Damn. So if you got the big toe, can you get into regular shoes still, or?
You might have to get a couple sizes bigger to fit that toe.
Yeah, I think I'll probably go with the toe.
Me too, because you could cover the toe with socks and shoes. The ear is kind of like a focal point where people gonna be looking at you.
That one big ear. They definitely gonna be watching you, looking at
you. Nah. All right. So, would you rather be naked at work for an hour, right, or be dropped off 2 miles from your crib naked, and you have to try to find a way to get home? And when I say naked at work for an hour, you work online, Chuck, so you would have to be on your platforms butt ass.
Yeah, I'll go with the 2 miles away. I'll make my way back, and I'm gonna have clothes on by the time I get back.
Please, they'll be getting pictures of you trying to get home and putting it on Clubhouse and all the places. Look at Chuck.
Right.
All right. Would you rather have no sense of smell or no sense of taste?
That's interesting, but I think I'll go with smell.
Yeah, I would go with smell too. Even though having your smell is really dangerous not to have a sense of smell, because you can't smell if a fire's starting. You can't smell like things that you might need for like an emergency and stuff, gas, but I can't give up my taste. So yeah, I think I'll go with the same thing. Would you rather know when you're going to die? Wait, would you rather know how you're going to die, or would you rather know when you're going to die?
I'll probably go with when.
Same here, because how is like, I don't know. That's kind of like, every day.
It's like the way my beliefs is something that I can't prevent.
Right.
So just knowing, okay, I got the date, so maybe I could put these things in play before.
Right.
Yeah.
True that. All right. So, would you rather have summer forever or winter forever?
Summer.
Really?
Yeah, I
Are
go
you?
with summer.
You know what? Yeah, I mean, I
I'm a
guess.
June baby, so
Oh yeah, you a summer baby.
Yeah, like I'm gonna go with the summer.
Yeah, I mean, I like both seasons, but I feel like after Christmas, winter's trash because it's like gloomy, and it's like Christmas is like the best thing in the winter. And then after that, everybody's just waiting for spring. I'm a spring baby, so that's my favorite season. But yeah, I guess I would have to go with you for summer. Last question, real quick. Players Club or Friday?
Friday.
Word? I thought you was gonna say the Players Club.
I'm gonna go with Friday. Like Players Club, it was cool. I like the movie, but Friday is like I ain't seen Friday way more times than I ain't seen Players Club, and every time it's like certain things you gonna always never forget. Even with Players Club, but Friday it's just something about it, man. It's something about it. It's definitely on the same level for us
Yes.
culture. But if I had to pick one or the other, I'm definitely gonna go with Friday.
All right, Tupac Against All Odds or Biggie Ready to Die?
I'm gonna go with Tupac. And the reason being is because in Chicago, we the Midwest, so we got the opportunity to love the East music, the West music, the South music, as well as the Midwest, and that's why a lot of artists come to Chicago. When they come with their tours, they can actually come and do an arena versus say the House of Blues.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that Tupac definitely put something on my soul when it comes to being culturally influenced into my day to day when I was going to come up.
So in Chicago, Pac was more of like a statement for you. He hit your heart more.
Exactly. But don't get me wrong. It's a whole, because like I said, we have the opportunity to like both.
That's why we always say Chicago's New York's cousins, basically.
Yeah, so it's a lot of people in Chicago who will tell you like, hell no, it's Biggie.
Yeah.
But
it's your personal opinion.
My opinion, I go with Tupac. Like I said, probably because of the different experiences I ain't had with it, and plus my cousins, that's all they really was bumping was Tupac versus Biggie. So by the time I was able to, okay, let me hear some more Biggie, it was already Tupac already in my head.
Mm-hmm. All right, Jay-Z or Nas?
I'm gonna have to go with Nas, and the reason being is because like
do you see my Jay-Z up there?
Oh yeah, where? Oh yep.
Right up there.
I see it. Yeah, I'm gonna have to go with Nas being because like I was familiar with Jay-Z, and I remember like this is my freshman year in high school, and I was familiar with Jay-Z, but then when Nas, I was even a little bit familiar with Nas, not so much, but I basically was in the middle when it came to both of them. And when that Ether came out, and then the Blueprint came out, and then Stillmatic came out, like I definitely that Stillmatic just leaves something with me forever,
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna go with Nas on that, because of that work with the Stillmatic. That was like my soundtrack to my life freshman year,
All right, 2 more questions. This is just off the dome. XXL or The Source?
Off top, I'll go with. Oh no, that's one I'm gonna leave alone. I'm not gonna answer that one.
You don't want to get in the middle of that.
Leave that one alone. Shout out both of them.
Shout out to both of them. But you want to know something? I feel like they had their errors. Like I feel like at one point it was just The Source. The Hip Hop Bible was The Source. The 5 mics, everything. But then I feel like XXL, it had their moment too, because their covers of, their covers were super dope. And I felt like they were fresh and new. They gave us stuff that like The Source didn't do. So I feel like at one point The Source was at the top. And then I feel like at another point, for the rest of the 90s into the 2000s, it was like XXL kind of, carried that torch.
I definitely feel you on that, because like when it comes down to The Source and the 5 mics and that's shaping the history of some of
Yes.
these, like some of these iconic albums actually got 5 mics or 4 mics.
Yes.
And when it comes to the double XL, when it comes to that freshman list, it's
Yeah.
people that been on these lists that's still on top today. So they
Right.
called, for the culture. So they definitely had they moments inside this culture for sure.
Absolutely. But if I had to pick, even though this is my question to you, if I had to pick just for the sole fact of shaping the culture, I would have to say The Source. But I feel like Double XL had a longer run, in my opinion, than The Source. I feel like The Source was like the beginning, but Double XL kept going. So, all right. I probably know the answer to this question. Chicago Bulls or New York Knicks?
Bulls, Chicago.
Listen,
we have an issue is the White Sox, the Cubs, but it's Chicago everything.
Listen, I'm from New York, and even as a youngin, we had there were so many people that were Chicago fans in New York. They had when we were younger in high school, elementary school and junior high school, you had people with the leather New York Knicks jacket and the leather Chicago Bulls jacket, and people was getting robbed for both those jackets because they were very pricey. But there was people in New York with those Chicago Bulls jackets. So
no, definitely. Shout out New York though. I guess it's like one of them things in this before, like now we see this type of stuff so we can understand it. Like when it comes to LeBron James is one of the players that went to multiple teams, and then his following went to these different teams. Rather than back in the day, Michael Jordan, he pretty much stayed with the Bulls the whole time. So you could pick the Bulls and you could be like, oh, well, I like Mike. But now seeing it the way we see it with LeBron James, like people tend to follow the player.
Exactly.
They're not so much following the team a lot of times, and we have seen that with LeBron James. It's more so about the player, and I think that was a big thing back in the day when it came to Chicago Bulls, because everybody know MJ. You had to go get them Jordans or something,
Yep. Everybody was on Chicago Bulls. All right. Last question. Muhammad Ali or Mike Tyson? Or you know what? I could take it. How about this? Mike Tyson or oh my goodness, Floyd Mayweather.
I'm about to go with Floyd. Even though I rock with Mike now, I ain't met Mike too, and he a cool dude. And I actually met Floyd before too. He a cool dude, but like, man, that Floyd undefeated, like dude is something different. And then, for him to even be in that space of making this type of money and him having that financial success, and we really never really we heard rumors about Floyd Mayweather being broke, but let's keep it real. Like, that man got skyscrapers, that man worth billions of dollars. So, I like what he did as in the boxing as well as what he took outside the ring, outside of his career. And shout out Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson definitely got the Tyson Farms. They got something going on with the the Tyson and the cannabis, as well as what Tyson is doing with the podcast space. Definitely a part of the culture. But when it comes to that fighting though, at least Floyd Mayweather, he gave us some moments to get drunk or to get our shots off. But Mike Tyson, he coming in, we ain't even done taking it before he ain't already knocked this person out. You feel me? Real fast. I remember it would be like everybody be in the house in the room, and the fight about to start. Y'all be quiet. I probably turned around like this, then I turned back. Oh, it's over. It's over. What happened? That's Mike Tyson for you. He's
Mike Tyson's punch out. I remember, I'm an 80s baby. So one of my first, I played Atari for a little while. I'm probably showing my age. It's all good. I played Atari for a little while, but when I got into the Nintendo game system, Mike Tyson's punch out was my game at 6 or 7 years old. So that's I kind of, if I got to pick between the two of them, I guess out of loyalty. And I guess because the thing about it is the way I guess I feel like about Mike Tyson and the new generation feels like about Floyd Mayweather. People feel like that about Muhammad Ali, but I don't remember that. You know what I'm saying? So maybe people would say, nah, Muhammad Ali trumps both of them. So it's kind of but shout out to all three of them. But anyway, Chuck, that's going to do it for us. Before we get out of here, is there anything that you want to tell the people? Anything you want to plug?
We'll be on No Jumper probably in the next 30 days. We'll be on No Jumper. Shout out Flacco. Something big for the movement, as well as we support the NG World podcast. salute her. We appreciate her having us on. Dope questions, definitely in depth. People gonna be able to, get to know me with this particular interview. So I appreciate you letting me on your platform.
Thank you so much.
Also, follow us on all major platforms. If you type in Death for the Clout Chaser, you'll be able to come up on our content. We got, from visuals to the audio version of, audio podcasts, like far as interviews. We support the, when it comes to breaking some of the news that's inside the culture. So just, keep us in tune, keep that notification bell on our content so you can be in tune,
Yes. Shout out to Big Chuck. Shout out to the whole Death of the Clout Chaser fam. And is that an Angie's World exclusive? Do people know y'all gonna be on No Jumper? Did you say that?
Oh yeah, that's the Angie's World exclusive.
Oh, that's the Angie's World exclusive. I should hurry up and put this out next week so people can know. But congratulations. That's a big look for you. I'm talking about they get millions of views over there. So I'm so freaking excited for you guys. Like I always say, you could be anywhere in the world, you know what I'm saying? But you decided to be in Angie's World. And for that, I love you. My name is Angie, aka Angie's World. That's Big Chuck from Death of the Clout Chasers. And we out of here, y'all. One. Deuces.